Good morning, everybody. It's Jillian. Yeah, it's Jillian. So the universe really does speak to me in some weird ass ways. The universe does speak to me. And I don't know what it means until after the fact. And so this is something that I got to share with you because it is just too coincidental. Hey, Papa Charlie. Nice to see you, dude. So this is something that's too coincidental that I have to share. Okay. So the last couple days, I've been focusing on heart disease. I've been focusing on cardiovascular disease. I've been focusing on heart attacks and strokes, focusing on Dr. Phil and all that. It almost seems like I have it out to get him or something, or have it out for him. And I really don't. I'm just like, holy crap. I mean, the evidence of everything that I'm talking about is like right in your face. I mean, you can't ignore it. I mean, yeah, you can ignore it, but is it really to your benefit? Is it prudent to ignore these red flags that I'm putting out there? So I don't know, it's just for whatever reason, I wanted to focus on heart attacks, ischemic strokes, hemorrhagic strokes, heart disease, and even bringing my husband into it because he's around that age where men start seeing signs of it. And I am fearful for him because, he's my husband, I love him, and I don't want anything to happen to him, as well as any of you. Well, anyways, we found out yesterday that somebody that he worked with had a heart attack, or he complained of chest pains. I mean, I don't know exactly. I don't have the coroner's report or, no cause of death substantiated, but somebody said, rumor, okay, that he had chest pains, and they're like, well, don't you go to a doctor? And well, he didn't go to the doctor, and then he didn't call people back. He's on the truck. People are calling him, talking to people every day, and he never called anybody back. And finally, the dispatch went and had a sheriff go and do a wellness check on him, and found out that he never survived whatever happened to him overnight. Now, I'm going to assume it's a heart attack because, why would a person, I'm saying that he's healthy, but why would a person just pass away in their sleep? It's either a stroke or a heart attack. Because, because a friend of ours called us last night and said, hey, dude, we have something important to tell you. One of our guys passed away overnight, didn't wake up. And I'm like, holy shit. And then it's like, people are like automatically assuming heart attack. And then we hear, evidence to suggest that that's what happened. And so I'm like, this is really coincidental that the last couple days I'm focusing on heart disease, strokes, obesity, skinny fat, visceral fat, weak organs, pot, and how it anesthetizes people so they don't feel any pain, and they go out, just completely like zombified. And then I'm really focusing on heart disease. And then somebody in our world that we know, I spoke to his wife at a party a couple, weeks ago. Okay. And so I'm just like, not a couple weeks ago, at a couple months ago. And I'm just like, how does that happen? How does that happen? That out of the blue, this person, and I've been focusing on this. And so, the universe is talking to me. It's letting me know you need to focus on this because this is one of the biggest things that you have to focus on. Okay. And so Nizam Ali Brohi, too bad for you, you're not getting this information. Bye. Some people will not get the benefit of this information, and that's unfortunate for them because they really could use this information. They're probably the ones that don't like this information are the ones that need it the most. But that's okay. They will find out the hard way. So anyways, so yeah, I've been focusing on that. And then all of a sudden yesterday, somebody flipping passes away. And this is right after like about 3 days of me focusing on heart disease. I mean, that's just a little bit too coincidental, I'm saying, okay? So anyways, I'm going to kind of go through, well, my whole point really is now to talk about balance between too much exercise and, yeah, yes, Papa Charlie, too much exercise and too much fat to not enough fat to the aging process and all the different cures that are out there that are causing people premature death, that we don't have to die in our society, but the reason why we are is because people are applying the wrong protocols to their body. And then you have trauma to genetics that you pass down to your kids, and then your kids are now predisposed to heart issues, autoimmunity, brain issues, obesity, you name it. And if we don't get a hold of these habits, these traditions that we're passing on to our kids and breaking that chain of destruction, you're going to see, obviously I'm seeing more of people dropping like flies. It's 2 people already within the last November and December. Pancreatic cancer, heart disease. Those are the 2 leading causes of death, along with like strokes and maybe car accidents. I don't know, maybe there's other things out there that also the leading cause of death. But as far as natural causes, the leading cause of death is heart disease and cancer. That ought to scare the shit out of most of you. Because when you think about it, you have no idea when you're going to kick off. Do you even know your predisposition? Do any of you know how much fat you have in your, yeah, you can go get your test done at the doctor to see how much cholesterol you have in your blood. Then you go on all this medication, blood thinners and whatever else. But then those have their own side effects that will cause a chain reaction of traumas and issues. So when you're constantly playing one extreme to the other, it's a chain reaction of stuff that you have no control over, because you have no idea at what point are you going to wake up one day? Is that one thing that you're doing going to do you in, that you've been doing every single day? That's the dice you all are rolling if you don't figure this shit out. And I'm telling you, I have it figured out. I know it sounds rather narcissistic and like, oh, she thinks she knows everything, but I'm already seeing it within me. And I am no different than any of you. We're all human. None of you are aliens coming from some other planet, though some of you think you are a reptilian or a Pleiadian and whatever, and I can't even speak to that. But if you actually profess that you're a human on this earth, that we're no different, maybe from a different, country, but that's the only difference. Maybe different characteristics as far as hair, skin, and nails and color and all that stuff, but that's the only difference. We all have 11 different systems. We all have predispositions based upon the traumas our parents passed down to us. We create trauma in our life. We create weaknesses in our life, and we don't fix them. And then it creates a actual current predisposition, not just predisposition from like 200, 300 years ago, or even 50 years ago from your grandparents. But some people are actually currently creating predispositions in their life right now. And they act as if they have no control over it. And I guess when you don't know your body and you don't know the signs, and you are not really taking control of your health in the right way, which how do you know what it is, but you've been exposed to this information, you're going to just live as if it doesn't matter. That, if you happen to pass away, it's what God intended. That's how people justify going to the afterlife. That's how people justify drinking and smoking and doing drugs and ignoring their health. They just say, you know what, God will take me. Yeah, God is life. And if you violate the laws of life, guess what? Death is a consequence. And you see this evidence every single freaking day. And I've been seeing it more, and when I was younger, I didn't deal with a lot of death. Okay. Yeah, my grandma died like maybe 20 something years ago. I didn't know her that well. Well, I knew her well enough, but I just wasn't that close to her to really have it affect me. So it was like, I hardly ever saw her. So it wasn't like anything that really affected me. But then, you know, as I'm getting older in my 40s, I'm watching people drop like flies, people in my high school class. That's too close for comfort. See, that's when you're young, you're not thinking about death. You're not thinking about all that because you're riding on your youth. You're banking on your youth. But when people are losing their minerals, their weaknesses are becoming more pronounced. Now they're more susceptible to freak shit that happens that's out of the blue. And then they want to chalk it up to God. That's God. Well, yeah, God is letting you know you violated the laws of life. Death is a consequence. The red flags were there, but you chose to ignore them. And even though you don't smoke or drink, but you have predispositions, you may not be obese, but you can be a skinny fat. People can be very skinny and be a skinny fat and have visceral fat around their organs, have it all clogging up their arteries, and then the blood can't move, and then you're not getting oxygen to your brain or blood to your heart. And then this is when people get these events. Some people survive them, some people don't. If you don't survive a heart attack or a stroke, it means that you didn't have enough electrolytes, you didn't have enough the minerals and the nutrients to keep you going another freaking day. People who do survive strokes and heart attacks, they're the lucky ones because they have been given another chance at life. But some people take advantage of that and they don't change their ways. And guess what? They may not survive the next event. So if you already had one stroke or a heart attack, that should be a major red flag. But then what people do is then they start avoiding foods. They start putting themselves in a freaking bubble. So essentially they starve themselves. So that then the pendulum swings way the other way. And I'm telling people, hey, good morning, Patricia Rainey. And I'm telling people, well, instead of demonizing meat, milk, and carbs and wheat, which you're seeing all over the holistic world. Oh my God, the things that trigger inflammation is meat, milk, and this, okay? Instead of putting yourself in a freaking bubble and avoiding foods that are causing you harm, why don't you balance out your body so that way you can eat everything in the food supply? And then, yeah, if you have religious preferences, that's fine. You can stay away from foods because it's against your religion. But you can eat every single food in the food supply. It's FDA approved, or fruit and vegetable, or a fermentation with salt. Because, you know, I mean, I don't want anybody living off of alcohol. Okay? But that's what happens in our society, is that the pendulum swings the other way and it still screws them up even more. So now you all have to understand balance. And this is what I'm trying to get across. Because every single time you go one direction, you guys that are not doing the protocol, it bites you in the ass. See, you know, it's like when you dodge one thing, when you dodge this way, you're not looking to see if another punch is coming this way when you're fighting all these battles on so many different fronts. There's no way you can dodge them all at once if you're not actually balancing out your biochemistry correctly. And so, yeah, you could be a skinny fat, you could be not doing drugs or not doing alcohol, and you could be avoiding everything under the sun that you think is bad for you. But if you already have sustained weaknesses, honey, the devil will take his due because you haven't corrected those issues. Okay? So, I'm getting, okay. So anyway, so Kevin, he is someone I'm collaborating with. He's writing part of the book or giving me a framework that I can go plug in the holes where I need to. Well, not so much the holes, but you know, the areas that I think that I can explain better. And he was mentioning this guy named David Sinclair. He is really hoping that somebody in the mainstream with a doctorate, PhD, can at least open up the possibility that we don't have to die, okay? That we don't have to die, that aging can be reversed. However, there are people out there that are, even though they're saying what I'm saying, their solutions for reversing the aging process are cures. They're selling supplements, they're selling who knows whatever else they're selling. Okay. And when somebody says they have a cure for death, or a cure for reversing, or cure for the aging process, it's temporary. Every single cure out there is temporary. So I just want to make sure that you guys understand, when you read something about a cure, it's not something that's long-term. It's a stay of execution. Every single cure you guys are looking for cancer, disease, chronic illness, or even aging, it's a stay of execution. It doesn't last long, and you could be cured for a day, you could be cured for a month, or even a few years. But remember, if you're not taking care of the root cause, the devil will take his due, and you will be held accountable for not taking care of the root cause. You can only mess with Mother Nature for so long before she says, hey, hold on a second, you messed with me, you violated the laws of life. At some point, you're going to have to pay the piper. And people don't realize this. That's why there is no indefinite life in our world, because people keep doing the shortcuts thinking that it's helping them. Oh, it's prolonging my life. But what does that mean? It means different for everybody based upon your biochemistry. And then now that we're procreating children on your traumatized body, the gap between life and death is becoming narrower and narrower. Now you're not going to see too much of a prolonged life. You're going to see, like you're seeing on the NBC News, are saying that people in the prime of their life are dropping like flies. Those of you that have kids that have major health issues, that should scare the shit out of you. Just because your generation didn't have as many issues, but you have not reversed your issues, and then you had children, guess what? They've inherited not only your issues, but they also created new ones based upon the new data in the world. They had to be exposed to viruses because you can't get away from them, and that compounded the weaknesses, and now you're seeing their health issues are even worse than yours. Okay? And so that's what people don't realize, is that when you keep procreating on bodies that are weak, you are creating children that are gonna have even more aggressive issues. And that's why you see suicide right now. You're seeing kids doing the shootings. You're seeing society unravel before your eyes because people are not breaking the chain of destruction, the PTSD. And this is just something for you guys to just look at. Doesn't mean you have to go and change your kids, because believe me, they're not going to listen to you. Not if you're not exemplifying, you know, really good health and exemplifying indefinite life, looking young and looking vibrant and being that example. But it's something for you to recognize and acknowledge, and maybe you do something about it. Yes, the famous clock. So I'm going to read the thing about what David Sinclair said. I mean, I'm not knocking him, no, because he's at least chipping away at the belief system that people should die. He's saying that maybe we don't have to die, but, you know, he could be recommending, you know, vaccines and all this stuff, which, okay, fine, for a minute, those will work for a minute. But when you think about it, the long-term, the longevity of vaccines on bodies that are already messed up is you know, I mean, it's not going to work for people in the long run. But it does a short-term thing to get you guys out of the woods. But I wanted to find that, I had to do that screenshot. So I want you to understand, when you read something, you have to know what they're saying. So this is what Kevin posted. Sinclair. Now he said something about, you know, he's acknowledging me that I did put this out there, the potential for indefinite life. And he is promoting Sinclair in a way just to kind of have you understand that somebody else is also saying the same thing. However, the methodology of actually going about doing it is definitely not where it's aligned with the Jelly Juice protocol. But Sinclair is one of the leading scientists in the field of aging, and he believes that growing old isn't a natural part of life. It's a disease that needs a cure. Notice the operative word, cure. Anything with the word cure in it should be a red flag. It's a temporary stay of execution. Okay, because you can play with words, with perception, with language, with marketing. Because even, let's say that, you know, so the thing with the cancer, if you catch cancer early and you at least you do a little bit of, you do a light chemotherapy, that's a cure for someone's perception that they're in imminent death. They may get, you know, if they catch cancer early and they were told they were stage 4, but when you think about it, what does stage 4 mean? Who created those algorithms to then substantiate what stage 4 is? People have this perception that stage 4 cancer is like hospice. Stage 4 cancer, based upon the algorithms of the industry, could be like stage 1. So you have no idea how they set those conditions to then give you that outcome, that you're stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4. So when you're saying that, you know, I cured this or I did that, then you're like, okay, that's the end all be all cure. I was cured from, you know, paralysis with this stem cell. Well, you caught something early. You don't have too many issues right now. That stem cell may work for you for the next maybe year, maybe 2, but it hasn't been around long enough to see any long-term consequences of having that stem cell. So yeah, you're going to see the stock market on some of these cures out there go up based upon people's perception, and they have no idea how long these things are going to actually work for them. And then when it doesn't work for them, oh, they're part of that 1 or 2% that didn't have the biochemistry to sustain that cure. So when you hear a word cure, freaking run away. But hey, some people need those cures because they're not willing to heal. They don't know anything about the J juice. So they are banking on the industry giving them these shortcuts. But in the long run, it's going to do them in. Okay? But I want you to understand, when you read the word cure, be very afraid. But I understand where Kevin's coming from, because we need to have somebody else say the same thing, that aging is a disease, that there is the potential to reverse the aging process. Now, how we do it, that's where all the different science and specific measurable results will step in. Okay? And so this is when I said, because people keep sending me email or sending me private messages wanting to recommend a guru that they follow. And I'm just like, okay, how do I just stop people from sending me videos and recommendations of some guru that they follow and they respect without completely like turning them off? I love that people think enough of me to recommend people they respect and follow. I'm all about reversing the aging process with a full head of hair that is the color that they were born with, unless they had some kind, barring some kind of, you know, disease that basically turned their hair white at birth. Okay. No major muscles. I don't want somebody that has built up their muscles putting out the perception that they're all healthy, because when you're doing that, you're actually breaking your body down. And I'll go into that later. Or devices, no Rife machines, no electricity or things and devices that people are doing to, like, you know, modify their hormones or their cells. Or honoring the aging process. Okay? So if you are talking about growing old gracefully, or talking about cures and all of that stuff, and what, you know, no. I'm not about that. Now I'll tell you now why. I am offering the Jilly Juice, the possibility of a person who is age 70, 80, or 90, looking like they're 36, or just graduated college. Now I'm thinking those GQ looking guys and girls, like in the model magazines, that are in the prime of their life. That's exactly what I want a 100-year-old, 200-year-old person to look like. Okay? Where actually really, literally, age is just a number. Okay? And so that means that even me, you can listen to me if you want. You can listen to my gut if you want. But really, where I'm going to make the most impact is in the next 40, 50 years, when I still look like this, and you've seen my whole stuff, And I have the, now here's the thing. So hold on a second. So that's all, that's it. So I'm offering the possibility with Julie Juice of a person who is age 70, 80, or 90, looking like they are 36 or just graduated college. That's it. I want to look up to someone who is 70, 80, or 90 on their driver's license or birth certificate that wasn't doctored, full of wisdom, but they look between 26 and 36. That's the proof that their protocol is worth me checking out. And they must be public with their protocol all over the internet. YouTube from day one, showing their steps from day one. I don't want some unknown claiming to be 100, looking 25, selling me supplements. So if you've been out there, an author, doing all these things, having these revolutionary ideas in your grain and your aging and all this stuff, and you've been out there with your ideas for a while, they obviously haven't worked for you. I'm not inclined to follow you. The fact that we're able to figure this stuff out in 3 years, my friend Bridget was saying, you're amazing because you figured this out in 3 years. Some people have spent 30-something years. They have doctorates, they're PhDs, they're CEOs of their own little health companies, and they still haven't figured out because they're still aging and degrading, but they're riding on the coattails of their predecessors who are just taking the same elements that do the same thing and reconfiguring them. And yes, whenever you upload into a body a different set of elements, it will cause an upset of homeostasis temporarily, and that's the cures on the market. So when you're inventing devices, when you're inventing new supplements or new pills, powders, and detoxes and whatever, it may be a different recipe, which will then upset the homeostasis and temporarily give you a stay of execution until the bodies out there adapt. And then most people buy this stuff and they realize it's not working, or it's only working a little bit, and then things get recalled. That is the allopathic holistic world. It's jumping from one cure to another, to another, to another, to another. And they make a shit ton of money. And I'm not naive to think that some of these people who are selling their pills, powders, and supplements understand the Julie Juice protocol. And they do it, but they don't tell their audience that they're doing the J Juice protocol. And they still sell their protocols, their supplements, their detoxes, and they're getting the benefits of the J Juice, not saying anything. And that's how they're selling their supplements. They're like, oh yeah, my supplements, my little immortality supplements gave me this. Look, I'm 55, I look 25. And so then you will fool those people for a certain amount of time, but when those people actually pass away and be like, oh, that you just didn't have the right chemistry, and this is where the fraud artists, will then start justifying why they're, because here's the thing, what's going to really bite these people in the ass that do that is the fact that every single time our society procreates on bodies that are traumatized, all of these pills, powder, supplements, and detoxes, and whatever newfangled thing on the market is going to actually work against these people. And the gap is already closing. And so at some point, even the snake oil salesmen that are selling supplements claiming immortality are not going to be able to justify why their audience is dying left and right. Oh, they were on these immortality supplements. Why are they dying left and right? Now, here's the thing with the J Juice, okay? Not everyone's going to do the J Juice properly. Some people are going to do it half-heartedly, and then they will still die. So no matter what, you're all going to have to individually figure out what's going to work for you. I already know there's going to be fraud artists out there taking my information, applying it to them, not saying anything, and then sell their shit. I know that. And then how do they justify, why the people are dying? Well, whatever. But here's the thing. I'm just letting you know that it's about chemistry, biochemistry. You have to feel pain. You're not going to get any kind of longevity and reversal of aging without feeling pain, though I know biotech is going to try to do something with that. How do you reverse the aging process and not have the patient feel pain? Well, I'm sorry, everything is connected. Everything is connected. So unless biotech goes in and stem cells and intravenously gives you my juice, but you still have to feel pain, those prostaglandin hormones have to come to surface. You still got to heal the weaknesses. So I know biotech and the holistic market and the allopathic market are not going to do what I'm doing because they're against pain. They're all about the shortcuts. So unless a person actually feels pain, there's no freaking way they're going to be able to actually tap into indefinite life. And you have to stay with the protocol. It can't be just some kind of, oh yeah, 1 month, 2 months, and that's it. No, you actually have to stay with it. Okay? So hold on a second. Let me see. Did somebody say something? Or maybe that's... all right. Okay, I just want to make sure nobody said anything else. Okay. So, anyways, so yeah, I had to mention the thing about David Sinclair because when you hear the word cure, you need to have your antennas out because the word cure is not something that you really want to chase after unless you're at imminent death. Okay? If you're at imminent death, then you hope you can handle the cure. That's where the whole thing with the balance, because people at imminent death, like in hospice, won't be able to afford to handle the cure. They would have to do the J-Juice protocol and they have to feel pain, and they're probably too weak even mentally to even deal with the pain. So no matter what, they're screwed. Don't get to that point of hospice, guys. So now the thing with the fire cider, okay, now I have people on my Facebook that watch my videos, know about the Julie Juice, recommending fire cider. What is fire cider? It's all the crazy ass spices, apple cider vinegar, jalapenos, onions, garlic, rosemary, all these things that are so highly spicy, acidic, that will suppress the mucus that the body needs to release the excess and suppress the prostaglandin hormones, which aid in the healing process. And so if you're not ready for the J-Juice, and they know about the J-Juice, they hear me all the time harping on the holistic industry. And I'm like, why would you recommend this? This shit's gonna hurt people. What the hell? Why not the J-Juice? They're like, oh, well, not everybody can do it and all this stuff. And I'm like, you're not even giving your friends and family a chance. Why? If you're not going to do the J-Juice, fine. You're not ready for it, then tell me. But don't make these decisions for your audience. Why would you recommend something that's actually going to hurt them? Because when you think about it, you have no idea the biochemistry of your friend's body. So they could be where they have on the precipice of a major issue and they're taking this fire cider and they could potentially have a heart attack and die. You don't know. But at least with the J-Juice, they have the potential to actually heal, even taking little sips. If you can take fire cider, okay, and drink that, then you can take little sips of J-Juice. And so I just get and that's why I get pissed off at some of you guys that have been following me, know about the J-Juice. Maybe you're not ready for it. Okay, fine. But don't say, which I see all the time with those that really don't believe in my stuff, but they pretend they do or whatever. Oh yeah, not everybody wants to do it. Everybody can do it. So this is what they can do. This is what they can handle. And that is lazy. You're not taking a stand, and I can't deal with that. And so, yeah, I block or I defriend, because it's just like, I mean, when you're suppressing the healing hormones with those aggressive elements, such as jalapenos, apple cider vinegar, turmeric, and all these things, cinnamon and honey and all this other stuff, you're adding and compounding to the imbalances of your friend's body. Okay, when your body's made up of fatty acids, amino acids, prohormones, and minerals, and you're compounding it with more acid, like pure probiotics, plus then adding spicy stuff to it, now you're destroying that which could be healing them. They might as well just feel the symptoms. Why would you recommend anything? Just don't recommend anything. Let them heal. That actually would save them than giving them some kind of thing that suppresses the healing process. Not recommending a remedy or a cure can save someone's life, as opposed to recommending something that inhibits the symptoms and pain healing process. So this is why I get pissed off at some of you who are in my group or on my page, speaking out of both sides of your mouth I love your Jilly Juice, Jillian, but I can't do it. Neither can my people and whatever. So I'm going to play the trendy stuff because it's easier. And then what are you doing? You're contributing then to the degradation of society as well as yourself and your family. I don't have time for that. I don't have time for hypocrites like that. Okay? So, you know, why not give people the opportunity? It doesn't mean that you have to promote it, but you can at least say, hey, you know, this girl, she has this protocol. Not everybody, it's painful, but just do a little bit and here, read more about it. I mean, there's ways in which you can introduce it where, yeah, you know, you're not ready for it, but at least you're giving somebody the opportunity to check the information out, and you're not completely lambasting it in an indirect way, which is what this guy did yesterday. It was basically, oh, nobody can do the protocol. And he already, the fear was just like right there. And I'm just like, done. I can't deal. This is just stupid. So anyways, so then I'm looking at, you know, people who go to the holistic industry and then they go get tests done on their body to figure out what they're deficient in. And so when you get a test that you're deficient in calcium and magnesium and potassium, guess what people do? The pendulum swings the other way and they start taking potassium, okay? Supplements. Or they eat like a shit ton of bananas. All right. And then guess what? There is then when you take too much of any one element or any one nutrient or any one element or chemical compound, you then create imbalances that manifest into damage to the body that the body now is forced to try to heal. So this is why there's no supplements on the protocol, because supplements are not necessary. You can get all of those pro-hormones. Those are precursors, the nutrients, the micro and macronutrients. You can get all that in the food supply and with the J juice combined together, with the diet and with the J juice. Because you're already getting the pro-hormones, the macro and micronutrition in the cabbage and kale, and with the diverse diet that's on the protocol, you're also getting the pro-hormones there. There's no sense in taking supplements, vitamin A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. And even if you're vitamin D deficient, like your holistic naturopathic says, go outside. Oh, but it's cloudy outside, the chemtrails, or I live in London, England, where it's always drizzly outside. Well, you know what? I go outside occasionally with my dog so she can go pee and poo. When the sun's out, guess what? The sun rays go through the clouds. You still get UV rays through the clouds. So that argument of that's too cloudy outside, is there another way to supplement, is asinine. Now, if you live in somewhere like Barrow, Alaska, during that 6 month of darkness, this is when, okay, you really need to up your nutritional game. Go get a sun lamp or something. Okay, or I don't know how they do it. I wouldn't even recommend supplements even in Barrow, Alaska. But yeah, if you're like in solitary confinement with no lights, yeah, you would have health issues from lack of sunlight, because now you're not getting the right hormones triggering the necessary processes to keep you alive. But you guys are not in that position of being in Barrow, Alaska. You're not in solitary confinement, completely devoid of light. So I don't want to hear this whole thing of chemtrails and cloudy skies is making you deficient. So I wanted to read really quickly the symptoms of too much potassium. Crap, I have too much crap on my face. Jesus. Hold on a second. Did I put it on there? Oh, no, I didn't. Give me 1 second. Oh, here we go. Unanticipated pitfalls supplementing your diet when you think or were told you're potassium deficient. This is why the holistic world, the naturopathics and the homeopathics do a disservice to their clients, because they needlessly make them so worried and concerned that they're not getting all of their nutrients that they go and try to dose themselves. There's, oh yeah, you're potassium deficient, vitamin A deficient, vitamin B deficient, whatever. And then the person goes and gets all these supplements and these tinctures and all this stuff, and they start taking them as if they know how to dose themselves correctly, as if they were the intelligence of the whole body. And then what they do is they actually cause more damage. They cause more harm than good. Naturopathics and homeopathics doing those tests cause more harm than good. even taking, it's, oh, well, we don't recommend supplements, we recommend food. Well, when you have leaky gut, malabsorption, you think changing your diet is going to do any good for your clients? Oh, well, I'm a nutritionist and I'm doing these tests on my clients to see what they're deficient in. And then I do a whole functional medicine thing where, okay, stay away from this, eat this, da da da. And the person has already leaky gut or malabsorption. They already have sustained weaknesses. You think your functional medicine, giving them some kind of diet plan is going to actually work in the long run. Oh, yeah, you make a superficial perceived benefits. Oh, I lost 50 pounds. Well, you lost good fat, you lost nutrition, you lost muscle too. Yeah, you look cute, but you still got the fat, stuff in your cells. You still have the weaknesses, but hey, if you look cute in our society, that's all that matters. Just slap some makeup and some nice clothes, you'll look like everybody else until you pass away from a heart attack. And that's our society. It's about aesthetics, plastic surgery, nips and tucks, Botox, dyeing of the hair so nobody knows that you lost minerals. I mean, it's pretty insidious how our society destroys each other. So high potassium causes symptoms and diagnosis. What are the symptoms of high? When you have too much of a specific nutrient, this is when people get too much nutrition. Okay, there's such thing as overdosing on certain nutrients. Hell yeah, there is. So, here we go. Here we go. So if your potassium levels are high enough to cause you symptoms, you may have tiredness or weakness, a feeling of numbness or tingling, nausea or vomiting, trouble breathing, chest pain. Ooh, that's a little scary. Palpitations or irregular heartbeats. See, when you have sodium and potassium and magnesium and chloride and bicarbonate, all of that in the minerals, in the salts, and then you have the nutrition, and you have the lactic acid, and then you have the intelligence of the body. Your body will regulate how much potassium you absorb and how much needs to be released. Okay, but say, oh yeah, I have leaky gut, so I can't possibly be getting harm with all the potassium. No, when you're putting any kind of one element, no matter what, if you have leaky gut or not, you're taking in an element that is going to still directly affect the weaknesses in your body. See, this is what the holistic industry is not telling you guys. This is what your homeopaths and your naturopaths and all of your doctors are not telling you. But then they're like, okay, well, we won't prescribe supplements. We'll just prescribe food, which is going to be completely, pointless and moot when you have malabsorption. So the holistic allopathic industry really does all the cures. Every single thing that they give you, chemotherapy to cannabis, all that stuff, they just give you a stay of execution. They potentially could give you another day, another hour, another year, another 5 years, but then they also could kill you off very quickly too. Because, yeah, but they do have enough tests to see, okay, well, the potential, the odds of them passing away from their recommendations are between, 2 and 5%. So they're willing to take that risk. And then that's why they have malpractice insurance for the ones that really react adversely to their advice. That's why they call it practicing medicine, because biochemistries change all the time, especially when we keep procreating on bodies that are highly traumatized, not breaking the chain of destruction in genetics and family. Okay, so you got to know this. If you don't, you'll continue to roll the dice and you won't break that chain. And then you wonder why. But now that you understand this information, or now that you are exposed to this information, you have no excuse. So why humans haven't tapped into indefinite life? It's the analgesia protocols. What is that? When you actually interrupt the nerves from the sense organs. Well, how do you do that? You can do it by operations. You can do it by chemistry. And that is the painkillers, the opioids, the cannabis, all of the different, the different anti-inflammatories. When you're taking turmeric and honey and garlic and colloidal silver and anything that stops the symptoms, stops the pain, when you're taking Tylenol, Advil, aspirin, analgesics, all of that, that stops the prostaglandin. It's a prostaglandin inhibitor. And so when you're taking cannabis, it does the same thing. It interrupts the bioelectricity. The nerves then are interrupted, attached to your sense organs. What are your sense organs? Your 5 senses. Your hearing, your seeing, your feeling, tasting. Okay? I think I'm missing one. But your skin is the largest organ. So when you're taking these medications and these cortisone and all these different things, you are actually interrupting the necessary healing parts of your body, necessary healing process of your body. And so, that's why humans are not tapping into indefinite life, because they keep aborting the healing process. They keep aborting the healing process, and they wonder why they are systematically degrading. So let me just read this real quick about Willie Nelson. Hold on. Okay. People are funny. All right. If you're asking questions about the salt, you guys, I don't answer questions about the salt. This is for you, Pia. If you're not sure about your salt, you buy mine. There is nothing that anybody on my Facebook can offer you as far as suggestions or advice. So please don't ask advice about your salt or what's going on in your world. If you don't know your product and you don't trust what it is that you bought, then find mine. I get my salt on Amazon. That's all I'm going to say. So anyways, you need to buy the book, Pia. This is for Pia Maltainen. You need to buy the book, get into my group so you can ask those kind of questions and support. We're still not going to tell you what you should buy, but I'm giving you a very indirect coaching by saying, I buy my salt from Amazon, Pink Sherpa. If you don't know your salt, then maybe you should then buy the one that I get on Amazon. I can't tell you what's wrong with your salt. So unless you happen to know and everything is great, then you don't have to worry about it. But if you have a question about your salt, that's not me to go and try to figure out. Okay? So anyways, sorry, I had to put that in there because some of you are being too cheap, not buying my book, and then you want to ask all these questions on my Facebook, thinking that I'm going to coach you the way I coach people in my group in some ways. And I think that's a little bit sneaky. So I will get tired of that, and I do block people when they do those, when they play those games with me, just FYI. Because I've said countless times, get the book, go to my group, that's where you get support. My Facebook is an information zone only. It's not a support system for people. Though people will treat it like that because they don't want to buy the book for whatever reason. You can get the ebook on the computer very easily. It's not that difficult, $9 or $20. Okay, I don't know why people get so cheap. I really don't. All right, sorry, I had to just say that. Okay, so why humans haven't tapped into indefinite life. This is why Willie Nelson has stopped smoking pot. Why Rick Simpson is aging and degrading. Cannabis inhibits the healing hormones, triggering inflammation necessary for the healing process, also known as prostaglandin, healing hormones with the pain sensations. Analgesia promoter, no different than aspirin or painkillers. Same stuff, different form, same intention. This is literally the Phoenix tears, okay? It's literally, it makes me cry when people are purposely stopping the healing process because they don't want to feel pain. Agonist activated cannabinoid receptors modulate non-receptive thresholds, inhibit release of pro-inflammatory molecules. You know what inflammation is? The body trying to heal. That's where it turns red. That's where you feel pain. And then guess what people do? They take turmeric. They take cortisone. They take cannabis oil, all the stuff to stop the healing process. And that's why we're not tapping into indefinite life, because people keep trying to mitigate pain with these things. And then they are systematically degrading. And you see it in people's faces, because you see the beards are going white and gray. You're seeing the body stealing resources from other parts of the body, degrading you to keep your vital organs alive. So cannabinoid receptors agonists have shown therapeutic value against inflammatory and neuropathic pains. See, right there, it tells you therapy does more trauma to the body. This is against inflammation. Inflammation is healing. So people are actively destroying themselves on marijuana, on cannabis oil. And then they get all pissed off when someone tells them that you got to feel pain to heal. That's why I don't think that any of these people out there that are claiming to be about, you know, reversing the aging process and all that with all their pills and powder supplements are going to actually exhibit it, because they don't want to feel pain. And they're aging. Okay? So note that therapies also create traumas to the body. Interrupting the nervous system pathway between sense organ and brain is not without its consequences. Okay? So if you're trying to take something to stop the pain, you just aborted the actual healing process your body has the intelligence to do. And then you keep basically saying, you know, basically taking your body as a fool, playing it as a fool. And then you're going and circumventing the healing process. And then you wonder why, you know, your life sucks. Hold on a second. I'm just going to see any other comments, because I have a really lot of information up here. Okay, so yeah, so again, if you're not sure about the salt that you have, buy the one that I have. Okay, so this is for you, Pia. Hopefully you can respond, because I don't guide or coach anybody on my Facebook, and I rarely guide or coach anybody in my group. So if you really are truly serious about understanding this protocol and doing it correctly, go get the book. Go get the book, Pia Maltainen. Don't be cheap. Show how much you really are serious. And then you can join my group, and then you can see what other people are doing. And you can get support. Okay? It's not that difficult. But I don't want you asking questions on my Facebook about the protocol or about anything about, you know, the protocol. Because that's not what my Facebook is for. My group is for that. There's a reason why I have a specific system. And if you don't honor it, then you're not going to be a candidate for the protocol, because you can't even follow simple directions. Not everybody's a candidate for the protocol because they don't understand it and they won't follow simple directions. So anyways, I'll stop that. All right. So, okay. So now, here's the thing with a heart attack and risk factors. So this is what I posted on my husband's wall, not yesterday, but the day before, December 3rd. And then December 2nd and December 1st, I think, I was focusing on strokes and heart attacks and was like railing on Dr. Phil. And then someone passed away yesterday, from a stroke and from a heart attack, I think. So here are the risk factors for those of you, because remember, predisposition is genetic, but it also could be something you sustain in your lifetime that you're not even aware of, because therapies out there that you've taken or done, medications to exercise to whatever therapies you've done, could also impact the brain, your blood vessels, your cardiovascular issue. You know, I mean, you don't know when you think about how many medications you've taken, because some of you have been taking medications your whole life and you have no idea how that actually impacts all of your 11 different systems. So you could actually create a predisposition in your current life. So it's not just genetics, it's also what you currently are doing today. So certain risk factors for heart attacks. So certain factors contribute to the unwanted buildup of fatty deposits, which is atherosclerosis that narrows arteries throughout the body. You can improve or eliminate many of these risk factors to reduce your chance of having a first or another heart attack. Heart attack risk factors are age. Men aged 45 or older and women aged 55 or older are more likely to have a heart attack than are younger men and women. Okay? Tobacco includes smoking and long-term exposure to secondhand smoke. High blood pressure. Okay? From obesity, high cholesterol, diabetes, increase your risk even more. High blood cholesterol. Oh, here we go. High blood cholesterol. Obesity, diabetes. What else? Metabolic syndrome, family history, lack of physical activity, stress, illicit drug use, a history of preeclampsia, which is a condition causes high blood pressure during pregnancy, increases the lifetime risk of heart disease, and autoimmune conditions. Having a condition such as rheumatoid arthritis or lupus increases your risk of heart attack. See, and this is what I see in my family, because we have people in my family that have these issues, okay, and they're doing all the different, cannabis stuff. You're going to see this a lot more, because when people who have autoimmune disorders, so guess what? They're all taking the pot, the devil's weed, okay? And so, yeah, when you have, what is a heart attack, heart disease, or stroke? It's when there's a buildup of fatty acids that thicken up the blood, that stop it from going to the necessary vital organs. Okay, that's what happened to that guy yesterday. He may look like he's a strong dude, but it's not just about being strong and having enough minerals and bones and being from the Midwest. It's also things that you don't even see, like how much fatty acid is built up in your blood. And if you don't have enough electrolytes, enough nutrition, enough lactic acid in your body, you don't have the right balance, guess what? You're not going to have the gas to power that blood through to get to the necessary vital organs. Okay? So that right there, the thing with the autoimmune condition, holy crap. So I'm going to be seeing some people in my lifetime, obviously in my family, going through some of this stuff. And so, yeah, there's this thing about this. There's an article about sumo wrestling and why sumo wrestlers, how they can be so obese and not have all of those cardiovascular obesity type of issues. And it's because they are constantly exercising. They're constantly competing. Just like athletes, when you're constantly competing, you're creating a lot of muscle, okay, but it's still breaking your body down. So don't say that exercise is going to save you from heart attacks, but it kind of will give you a stay of execution. It's like manipulating your hormones in your body to kind of buy you some time based upon your lifestyle. And so when sumo wrestlers are eating 7,000 calories a day, they're eating all this meat and all this stuff, all this fat, and they're like huge, but they're not dying from heart disease. Well, the reason why is because a muscle is built up around their vital organs, so it keeps them alive. Remember, they have a shelf life. Athletes have a shelf life. Okay? And so I guess this hormone in the fat, it's called adip. What is it called? It's okay. I'll find out what the name of it is. But sumos, for example, the body as an athlete not being replenished correctly, okay, has only so many miles or can only work with the length of your telomeres at conception, fluctuating slightly based upon genetics. So you can lengthen your telomeres, and you can shorten them sporadically throughout your life. But ultimately, those that are still working with the mainstream and the alternative mainstream will ultimately have a shortened telomere, okay? The body under duress will trigger hormones to keep you alive during these times of stress and exercise. So the muscles and the hormones, it's called like adipo something. I'll tell you about it later. It's coming down the line. However, once the music stops, the sun sets, which is like analogies, the end of your 15 minutes, cardiovascular issues from obesity from these sumo wrestlers will trigger. But not only those that are in sumo wrestling, those that are working out, that are playing the, that are playing the working out game and running and marathons and all of these athletes, they know that they're going to they have a shelf life. That's why Olympians are only, they only last so long. And then they go into endorsements and then endorse Wheaties or something. And then you see that systematic degradation. You look at Arnold Schwarzenegger. You're seeing the years and years of abuse ravage his face. Yeah, he looks cute with his muscles right now, but his face tells you the actual window of his soul, his biochemistry. Your eyes and your face, if you don't get too much plastic surgery, will tell you. But even then, plastic surgery can only hide those discrepancies in your body for so long. Okay, so the devil does take his due when you overtax your hormones being a professional athlete. So all athletes will suffer some form of this once they stop. Some never stop until they literally run themselves into the ground. I mean, like a Jack LaLanne or any of those that are into high impact aerobics or exercise. Okay. So this is what the Business Insider was talking about sumo wrestling. So how do they hit the jackpot on the fat? The secret is their name, sumo wrestler. Studies show that intense exercise may prevent the buildup of visceral fat. Basically, it has to do with how exercise increases hormone called adiponectin. Adiponectin guides glucose. So these are the fatty cells, the hormones and the fatty acids, right? Adiponectin guides glucose and fat molecules out of the bloodstream, where they could build up as visceral fat, and instead puts them underneath the skin. But as soon as the exercise stops, so does the benefits. When sumo wrestlers retire, they have to seriously cut calories, or they become at risk for cardiovascular disease. That might explain why retired wrestlers reportedly die an estimated 10 years younger than the average Japanese citizen. So while the thought of eating 7,000 calories a day might be appealing, you probably shouldn't unless you're a sumo wrestler, unless you're spending most of your day trying to topple a 400-pound man. And so, your hormones, adipose tissue fat, whatever. Okay. So alternative names for adipose tissue fat is body fat. And then the insulin, that hormone regulates the storage of body fat. So when you see people who are obese or have a lot of fat in their body, but maybe they're just skinny fat, then you see pre-diabetics as well as diabetes, because people are like, well, this guy is skinny. See, you've heard of people who are skinny, right? They're like, how is this guy diabetic? He's skinny because he's a skinny fat. He has fat around his organs, fat in his bloodstream. And then it alters the way the hormones are being triggered and released. And so then they, become insulin deficient or too much insulin or not enough insulin. The insulin is now being altered. And so then they have to take insulin to then help manage the blood glucose and all of that. And then they are also a candidate, it's a precursor for heart disease. Okay. I mean, everything is connected, you guys. So where is my adipose tissue? So adipose tissue is commonly known as body fat. It's found all over the body. It can be found under the skin, subcutaneous fat packed around the internal organs, visceral fat between muscle and with bone marrow and breast tissue. Men tend to store more visceral fat around their internal organs, leading to obesity around the middle of their abdomen. So you see the guys that have a big abdomen, they are steadily paving the way for some kind of condition. And then when they have they get diagnosed with diabetes or they have heart issues, that's letting them know this is your insurance policy. If you don't change your ways in some way, or balance out your hormones, medication wise, which I don't really love, but people do, then you're in for maybe not surviving your next symptom. However, women tend to store more subcutaneous fat within the buttocks and the thighs. So now here's the thing. This is all based upon a society not doing J-juice. So when you are going from one extreme to being totally, sedentary, watching TV all day and eating and not doing anything, right? Or you're so productive and you're an athlete and you're working out and doing all this stuff, the issues are still going to be extreme. How do you find the balance in between? And that's where the J-juice comes in, because right now with the J-juice, we're not doing exercise. People are like, oh, well, how can you not do exercise? You got to get oxygen to your system. You got to do this, you got to do that. And you can get oxygen and blood moving through your system by foods, the right kind of foods, because Mother Nature didn't mean for you to go and do miles on a treadmill or the Peloton. You're seeing all these trendy little machineries and the workout gyms, okay? But Mother Nature never intended a person to be on a continuous cycle of exercise. But see, Mother Nature intended is that you walk to go to do what you got to do. I run up and down the stairs. My adrenaline kicks in when it needs to. If my dog happens to chase after a rabbit, which she never really does go outside the yard, my hormones kick in, fight or flight. If my body senses danger, it will do what it has to do. When I'm driving the car and I'm really aware and I see a car coming at me, I will find ways to escape a situation. Okay? That's what your body's meant to do. But since people aren't on the J-juice, they're not regulating their hormones correctly, they're manipulating their body based upon, reacting to symptoms. And they go from the pendulum swings the other way. They go from one extreme to the other. That's when you see all the issues. So the whole thing about the J-juice is understanding balance. And so I can sit on my ass all day long, eat whatever the hell I want, drink the J-juice. I could still oxygenate my cells and my muscles. I don't need to have a six-pack. If I happen to eat a high-fat, like having that turkey with all that butter, I do the J-juice, I release the excess fatty acids, so it's not collecting in my blood vessels. And then I feed my cells correctly with the fermented cabbage and kale, which is pre-digested for easier absorption. I drink water and my mind is clear. I don't have to run on a Peloton, or I don't have to go to a yoga class. I stretch every so often when I feel I need to, but if I want to go and take a hike or a run, well, yes, the body adapts to that. I'm not going to run, but let's say someone says, hey, you want to go hiking, which hasn't happened in a while. But if I wanted to go hiking or kayaking or doing anything that requires some kind of weight or exercise, I can do it and my body will adapt to it. Yeah, it'll be a little painful as I am now adapting to a new type of environment, a new exercise. And then what happens, it sculpts your body, you feel the pain, and then you drink the J-juice, you repair the damage, and now you have these muscles. So I can go and develop and manipulate my muscles if I want to. Do I want to? Not necessarily, but I could. I'm not too skinny, I'm not too fat. Okay. It's just, that's the whole point of the J-juice, is that you learn balance. People who are like, they get diagnosed with diabetes, it's now that they know that they're like, okay, they're getting fat, they feel this, now they want to go and work out. So then they start doing things harmful to their body and the pendulum swings the other way. And there's a whole set of issues with that. Okay. So what does the adipose tissue do? Adipose tissue, which is body fat, is now known to be very important and active endocrine organ. It is a well established that adipocyte or fat cells play a vital role in the storage and release of energy through the human body. More recently, the endocrine function of adipose tissue has been discovered in addition to adipocytes, adipose tissue contains numerous other cells that are able to produce certain hormones in response to signals from the rest of the organs throughout the body. Through the actions of these hormones, adipose tissue plays an important role in the regulation of glucose, cholesterol, and the metabolism of the sex organs. Okay, so what hormones does adipose tissue produce? A number of different hormones are released from adipose tissue, and these are responsible for different functions within the body. Okay, examples of these are aromatase, which is involved in sex hormone metabolism, TNF alpha IL-6 and leptin, which are collective termed cytokines and are involved in sending messages between cells. Okay, so remember, fat, if you don't have enough fat, you start also deteriorating too. Okay, so fat is like, when you don't have RNA and DNA, then you don't have a body. There's no messages being sent. Okay, so we don't want to have even like, no fat on the body. That's like anorexia. We'll go there. We'll get there at some point. So, and then plasminogen activator inhibitor -1, which is involved in the clotting of the blood. So when you have too much of the body fat, the blood clots, and that's where you have strokes and heart attacks. So that's what I'm saying about balance. The J juice has the electrolytes and the nutrition, all that stuff to break up the clots. It comes in when it needs to then power the blood through to get to the necessary organs. Angiotensin, which is involved in blood pressure control. People get angioplasties and angiograms and angio this. They're seeing already the deterioration of their cardiovascular system. Adiponectin, which improves the body's sensitivity to insulin and so helps to protect against developing type 2 diabetes. So, so having too much of it, well, obviously people get type 2 diabetes, but if you have enough of it in there, it stops it. But I guess too much of it will cause then diabetics. And lipoprotein, lipase, and apolipoprotein E, which are involved in storage and metabolism of fat to release energy. What could go wrong with adipose tissue? Both too much and too little adipose tissue can have severe health implications. More commonly, too much adipose tissue leads to obesity, mainly from too much visceral fat. Obesity leads to numbers of serious health problems. Obesity increases the risk of developing type 2 diabetes, type 2 diabetes, as it causes the body to become resistant to insulin. This resistance results in high levels of blood sugar, which is bad for health. So anyways, so then a lack of adipose tissue, lipodystrophy, can also cause similar problems and seen with increasing frequency as a result of medication used to treat HIV/AIDS. So then you have lack of body fat, which then has, see, that's what I'm saying, you have too little or too much, we'll have the same issues, cardiovascular issues, kidney issues, all these issues. And that's where in eating disorders, anorexia nervosa, the patient does not eat enough food to maintain the adipose tissues. That means that they can lose dangerous amounts of body weight. And then I talk about that, and actually the outcome, which is very interesting. If there's suicide in your family and there's anorexia in the family, those two are a correlation. So anorexia nervosa is when somebody is very critical of their fat intake. And these are the vegans and vegetarians, the people who are now trying to eat a clean diet. So the clean diet eaters out there, all the vegans and vegetarians and all that stuff, trying to stay away from all of these fats and milks and meats and all of that, that is the next generation of anorexia nervosa. They are actually exhibiting the characteristics. And I'm seeing them on my Facebook. They're the ones that go live in these communes, eating only plant-based material, drinking these teas to do all these detoxes, not eating animal fat or any kind of processed food. And they are wasting away. And actually I heard somebody from actually a while ago, a school friend of mine was saying that her ex-husband, who is a vegan, vegetarian, all into the health world, commit suicide. Okay. So what are the symptoms of anorexia? rapid weight loss over several weeks or months, continue to diet limited eating even when thin or when weight is very low, having an unusual interest in food, calories, nutrition, or cooking, intense fear of gaining weight, strange eating habits or routines such as eating in secret, feeling fat even if underweight, inability to realistically assess one's own body weight, striving for perfection, being very self-critical, undue influence of the body and or shape or self-esteem. You can read this. And then these are the symptoms: loss of hair, drop in blood pressure, pulse or breathing rates, irregular heartbeat, thinning of bones, osteoporosis, fluid electrolyte imbalance, death from starvation or suicide. So it's not just the obese people at risk, it's also the skinny fat people, okay? So, I mean, I know there's a lot of information, but the J juice will regulate to where you don't have to go to where you're so sedentary and not doing and you're not taking in the right elements and you're causing issues from that, to being so overly productive to where you're destroying yourself, running yourself into the ground. There is a balance. The J juice gives you a balance, okay? And this is the whole point of the J juice, but you have to feel pain. You have to feel pain. And it's unfortunate that people are going to pass away because they played the extreme games. The pendulum swung the other way. As soon as they were diagnosed, they went and just basically eradicated everything that was told to them. And I see it on my Facebook, you know, oh God, I got diagnosed with this, this, and that, heart disease and this, so stay away from meat, stay away from milk, stay away from this, stay away from that. And then they have a whole set of other issues that happen. Hey, Kevin, nice to see you. I'm basically almost done here. This is a lot because people got to see the bigger picture. Okay, people got to see the bigger picture. When somebody, like, I'm telling you, I am tapping into the universe. Me talking about heart disease and heart attacks and strokes and bagging on Dr. Phil in some way. And then somebody yesterday passed away in their sleep, 62 years old, okay, who did complain of chest pains. That happened yesterday. Somebody that my husband knows, that I've met and hung out with them during a party. Okay, that's the universe letting me know that it knew something was going to come up in my world. Okay, so you got to do the J juice. You got to get in sync with the universe. You really do. Your life depends upon it. We don't have to die. And you're not always going to just pass away like that, you know, from a stroke or a heart attack and not live. Some of you will have a stroke or a heart attack and be half paralyzed. And then guess what? Now it puts a strain on the family. Now you have to get a nurse or someone to wipe your butt for you. Now you have to be admitted to some kind of nursing home because the family doesn't have time to take care of you. Or yeah, your marriage falls apart because now you are less than. Some people will stick with you, some people won't. You don't know. And so then that's a whole chain reaction of other events. So some people are lucky enough, I guess, to just completely just pass away and die and not have that prolonged death process that also makes you like a burden on the family. Some people will just be half paralyzed, which okay, it's okay, you're still living, but that's just a whole set of other issues that people are not prepared to deal with. So why even put that in the mix? Why even have that as an option? Why not just deal with the pain, you guys? Do the J juice. It's not that, I mean, it is difficult for some, but it's worth it. Even doing a little bit. Don't drink the fire ciders and the apple cider vinegars and the kombuchas and all that trendy crap. Make a gallon of it and just sip it in the beginning. Just sip it. On your days off, just sip it, see what it does. Okay? When you're drinking celery juice, you know, certain foods do alter and impact certain parts of your body. So when someone's drinking celery juice, yeah, their skin may look great, but their skin is only one component of probably thousands of components that your body still needs to fix. Simply just drinking celery juice to make your skin look cute for a minute is not enough when you already have sustained weaknesses, predispositions that you have no idea when they're going to kick in, as far as heart attack, heart disease, stroke, and whether or not you'll survive it. Okay? So, you know, when somebody is diabetic when they're skinny or diabetic when they're fat, weight isn't always the telltale sign of a predisposition of diabetes that leads to heart disease. And then when you want to go and work out because you don't want to get fat and trigger that and trigger a more serious diabetes, right now some people are just, you know, they're taking pills for diabetes, but they don't want to have to actually take injections. Then they're going to go and work out, which is going to cause then more degradation to the body. And so you can't win for losing. So that's why J juice. Now, you know, maybe down the road I might do very light exercises to kind of sculpt a little bit, but then I'm going to drink the J juice. So at some point down the road when you're healed and sealed, you can sculpt your body in a safe way without overdoing it and then causing possible adverse reactions based upon your inadequacies, your weaknesses. So I'm going to entertain that in the future. But right now I have bigger fish to fry at this point. But my J juice keeps my muscles and my cells and my body oxygenated. I have amazing amounts of energy, mental clarity. My hormones kick in if I need to. I don't put myself in positions to have fight or flight on a continuous basis. I don't need to go to a gym to work out or be skinny. I just take in the right chemistry that's aligned with the biochemistry. The J juice has all of, and the protocol, what do you think? The protocol has the fatty acids, amino acids, prohormones, and the minerals. It has all of that. And that's what supports then potential indefinite life, but you have to also handle the pain and make room and make time for it. But if people don't make time for it, they go to the cannabis, the protocols, the immunotherapies, the pills, power supplements, detoxes, holistic allopathic. That's when you abort the healing process. And I use the word abort very, very, very purposely. Because when you hear the word abort, you're thinking of a kid being aborted, you know, or aborted fetus cells. Yeah, it's prematurely stopping life, stopping something that which could be going. So when you have an abortion, that's a life that could potentially go, but you just stopped it prematurely. When you do your pills, power supplements, and detoxes, and exercise regimes, and cannabis and chemotherapy, which, okay, I understand, imminent death, you want to do something so you feel safe, but I'm telling you, you're aborting the healing process. So this just should give you some kind of clue on why it is we haven't tapped into indefinite life. Kevin. Yes, that's what I do. I once a week, full body. The body can benefit from a little bit of stress if done the right way. It's called hormones, I think, or hormesis, I think. Oh, as far as exercise, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna play with that. I'm not exactly sure how I want to do it, but I might just go up and down my stairs like a few times. You know, but not too much. But I do go up and down my stairs all the time anyways. But I could do that. I mean, it's just natural movement, but it's not overdoing it. But at this point, I could do that now when I know that I know how to balance, because I have that now, that understanding of balance. But when people in the exercise world, in the mainstream and the alternative mainstream, they're trying to see if they can balance out their exercise, but they tend to still go too far. So that's why I want people to wait until they're really healed and sealed before they start playing with the balancing of exercise. Okay. And still, you know, I mean, I feel great. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Because I don't still think, I mean, I think that, you know, when dogs, she's doing great. She doesn't get out there on the leash all the time. She doesn't. what she does is when she goes out in the backyard, she walks, she does her circuit, she will run on the deck, and she'll do these like the zoomies every so often, so that'll come out. But her disposition is very calm. She doesn't need to have so much exercise. Like when these guys take their pit bulls and they put weights on them and they put them in chains and they put weights on them and all that stuff, I don't want to do that to my dog either. Okay? But my dog Sugar gets a balance of the right foods, the rest, the exercise, the pooping, all that stuff, but not so much exercise, but she does have freedom to go outside. But I don't want to put her in any danger going into weird neighborhoods that I don't know, that I'm not sure. So I play that game. But she doesn't need to be like exercised to that extent. But yeah, when dogs are full of fat and predispositions and full of issues, they need the exercise to offset that. Okay? That's why exercise is there. It's a way to manipulate the hormones in the body. However, there's a way to do it safely once you're healed and sealed for the most part. Okay? So that's why I say just wait a minute, you guys, before you start implementing exercise regimes. Now, some of you are in the exercise world, and it's kind of hard to just stop that because that's your paycheck, and I understand that too. So now you're going to have to figure out how do you balance out healing from past issues that are so numerous, and then also heal from the current conditions that you're doing to your body today, and then also future triggers. So that's where you really have to make appointments with yourself to drink a bunch of the juice on a weekend. Okay, like a gallon or two, which is not difficult in a day. That's if you stretch it out. Get the healing. It's going to overlap into your world, but hey, you got to heal at some point. You cannot not heal. You cannot not feel pain. You've got to feel pain. Okay? So there's ways in which you can do the J juice on the weekends and still do your daily activities during the week and still balance out your life correctly and still get your priorities done. That is a possibility. Okay? I didn't drink a gallon a day every single day, but I didn't need to. Some people, and I didn't really have the time to either. Some people have nothing else going on. They're on disability, they're on Social Security, or they're trust fund baby, and all they're doing is keyboard warrior stuff. They have the opportunity and the wherewithal. Well, I don't know if the wherewithal, but they have the support system enough. They have the foundation to potentially do a gallon a day. It is possible, but take a break. Some people have major cancer, and it would behoove them to do a lot of the juice. Maybe not a gallon a day right off the bat, because that's a lot. It's a lot of healing to do, when the body's already just like worn out from battling a disease. Now you got to battle the healing, and that's whew. But I mean, it's all possible. The people that can do a gallon a day are the ones that are relatively healthy, like Jaden Graham. Okay, I mean, he's doing 4 liters a day. I'm like, holy shit. But he also has already been doing stuff like this. His body's already primed for it. He has the mental capacity to do that. But if you're, coming from the mainstream and you're coming from a different thought process than where he's coming from, it's going to be very difficult to implement a gallon a day. So you just start off slow. Everybody has a comfort level, but you don't want to plateau and you're still aging and degrading. You want to keep increasing the nutritional absorption rate so the body can continue to heal, because you just can't stay on 2 or 1 cup a day forever if you're not reversing the aging process. That's why I say, I will not look up it to anybody if they can't prove to me that they are 25 years or that they're 70, 80, 90, 100 years old and they don't look 25 or 36. If you look your age in our society and you're hawking something that has to do with potential indefinite life, where's the proof? If you've been around for a minute, 3 years 3 years, I've changed my biochemistry in 3 freaking years. Some people have been on the market for years and they're aging. That's not who I want to follow. Okay? Because you really can, at age 40, some of these young people at age 40, 30 can reverse your issues that quickly. Kevin can reverse his issues that quickly. I mean, I know he has a lot of health issues and stuff like that, but we can look relatively young and be 80 or 90 years old, but you can't be 100 years old looking like you're 26 with health issues, because for you to be 26 with health issues, you will look 100. So I want to see somebody. I want to look up to somebody, which means I got a lot of work ahead of me too, because I'm not 70 or 80. I'm 45. That's why the world hasn't taken me seriously just yet, because I still got time. Time is what gives you the wisdom, is what makes you credible. That's why people who are aged, who are elderly, are looked up to in our society, because they have the wisdom, they have the time put in. When you're 36, 35, 25, or even 40, that's not enough time really on this earth. We just barely scratch the surface of the potential of humanity. When I'm 50 or 60 or 70 and I still look this way, I'm not even 50, when I'm 70, 80, or 90 and I still look this way, I would expect someone to be curious to figure out what the hell I'm doing. I don't need to have someone revere me or call me some god. I don't want that. All of you have the potential to do this, what I'm doing. But that's who you respect, is someone who's 100, 200, whatever, and they look 25. You wouldn't even know they were unless you actually saw a government document that says they are 100 years old and they look like your daughter who just graduated high school or just graduated college, right there at the precipice of their career. Okay? That's who I want to follow. So I don't have anyone out there right now. I only have me, and I'm not even there yet. So all of you have the potential to be that person. I don't need you to revere me. You follow your own gut, because all of you have the potential to be that person that you want to aspire to be like. There is no one that you need to revere. But that's my conditions of who I'm going to follow if you're going to recommend anyone to me. That's why I'm trying to stop everyone from recommending people to me. Stop giving me people that I have to follow. Everybody has something to offer, yes. But there is nobody that is exemplifying those specific parameters at this point. I'm not even exemplifying the parameters I'm putting out there. I'm not even 70 or 80 or 90. I'm 45. Okay, so I still have some healing to go. So unless you have somebody that you could substantiate that's 100 or 200 and they look 25 and they have been around for a while and people know about them and it's all over the internet, which I know there's nobody, okay? There's nobody you can recommend to me. Yeah, everybody has something to offer, but I already have it figured out. I already know I have it figured out. Now it's about how do you chip away at the belief system of the masses. And that's where Kevin, the whole David Sinclair. But I wanted to, in the beginning, Kevin, when I talk about David Sinclair, the operative word that's a red flag is cure. He put that word cure there for a reason. Remember, when you use the word cure, it's temporary. Stay of execution. So that's why I focus on the David Sinclair aging a disease that needs a cure, because cures are temporary. Those are the pitfalls when you buy into cures. That's their loophole. Say, oh, well, you didn't have the biochemistry for it, so you can't get the reversal of the aging process. No, you just got to drink the J juice. J juice is not a cure. It's a complete overhaul. You got to feel pain. David Sinclair, other people out there, they don't want to feel pain. However, I don't put it past people to take my protocol and still promote their wares, because there's still so many people out there that are not privy to the J juice possibility. They're still watching the Dr. Phil show thinking I'm crazy. Regrowing limbs and organs. But now it's not about regrowing limbs and organs. It's now about reversing the aging process. And yeah, if you happen to have a missing limb, most likely that's going to be addressed. That is the blueprint of your body. So if you're reversing the aging process, most likely if you're missing a limb, that's going to be there too. Okay, so I don't have to go into all of the specific details of very specialized situations in everybody. Reversing the aging process will take into account anything that is anomalous in the human body. Okay, so yeah. All right, so anyways, I just wanted to get that information across. Yes, my hair, you guys, I'm not seeing as much white hair. It's like black and beautiful, and it's a lot of hair. I haven't cut my hair since Dr. Phil. Actually, I haven't cut my hair since Dr. Phil, since before Dr. Phil. Okay, so so yeah, getting your minerals, the color back to your hair is going to be another milestone for some of you. Okay, so just do the protocol. Try not to undermine the healing process. Sometimes I know you'll get off the diet, you'll do whatever you got to do to maintain, to have some happiness. I'll tell you what, it's tough healing. It's tough healing. So I get some of you will have to have a hamburger. Okay, I understand that. And then if you do eat off protocol, then drink that much more of the juice to offset that. And so, yeah, I guess if you're going to eat off the protocol, then you better drink so much of the juice, which then will indirectly kind of force you to heal. Okay, it will force you to heal. So I'm not saying you guys be eating candies, cakes, and donuts and everything, because I don't want you guys to be feeling sick, because yeah, when you're feeding and fighting all of these issues, and it's like, oh my God, you want to kind of let your body deal with one thing at a time. Okay, so that's why I say just stay on the diet, because at least now you will heal and seal, and your body doesn't have to process so much stuff that it has not prepared to process. And you still got to deal with healing your 20 feet of small intestine, and also your colon, and also getting rid of the excess compacted poop. So we're not trying to make it difficult for you, but some of you, yes, I mean, your cravings will supersede even the protocol, and I get that, I understand that, and that's fine. Just drink a lot more of the juice to help break it down, make it easier for the body to digest it, okay, and get it through your system. So if it, so that could be like a forcing function for people to do the protocol, is that they can have occasionally a cheat day. So if you pick one cheat day, here you go, you pick one cheat day or 2 cheat days a month where you just gorge on whatever, but then you might be paying for it. You'll be mucusy and all that stuff, because remember, you have imbalances in your fatty acids, amino acids, prohormones, and minerals. And if you're eating something that has a lot of what you already have an overabundance of, that's when you will see the mucus come out. So some of you will your body will strike back at you for having that cheat day. So that should tell you too, in a lot of ways, when you have a cheat day, it'll be like a barometer for you to know that you're still overabundant. You're still reacting to the food supply because you still have imbalances. Okay, so even a cheat day can kind of give you an idea of where you're at on the protocol, because that's what happened for me. Okay, is that I did do a cheat day, and I reintroduced the food too early, and it was from a bar that had a lot of peanut oil, because they use that to fry the food or the fish or the whatever. And I was like completely mucusy, feeling super sick, because those components in that oil was letting me know that my body already had an imbalance in that, and that was something I needed to stay away from at this point. But then when later on down the road, I ate the same food and I didn't have the mucus, which meant that my body released the excess, that which was then causing me symptoms when I ate that food. Okay, so whenever you have a symptom of any type, it's because the body has an overabundance of something and is trying to release it or fix the issue. Okay. Yes, John. John says, I love my hair, but my teeth are what I want back, and the candy and the shit is out the window. My attention is growing through the roof. Yeah, paid for my Thanksgiving binge. I'm sure. But at least you know what it feels like when your body is still going through the healing process and you eat a certain food, you know that you have still the imbalances, and that's good. And so it just kind of keeps you aware of where you are. And that's why I say that's how you learn to listen to your body. Your body will tell you exactly, but you just have to know what it is. When you break everything down to fatty acid, amino acid, prohormones, and minerals, when you break it all down and then you look at the food supply and then your environment, you'll start looking at everything from that standpoint, from a periodical table, from a biochemical level, standpoint. And it's not going to be, you're not going to get lost in the fancy words, garlic, or or probiotic, or this or that. You're not going to get lost in those words that fool you into thinking something that is doing, because of the brainwashing around these words. You're now going to see everything is broken down to a biochemical level and to a periodical elemental level. It is chemistry and biochemistry. That is how you break it down. That's the easiest way to reference everything. And so you don't look at people as names like, oh, that's John Brownwood. No, that's John. That is a guy that is deficient in this, this, and this. He's mineral depleted. He has too much of this, or not enough of this. Okay, and then you start looking. Then you start seeing the patterns, and then you start seeing exactly what your friends and family are doing to themselves with their habits. And then that teaches you what you should do and what you should not do. But when you get lost in, oh yeah, that's John, he's such a great guy, he's so beautiful, and all this other stuff, you don't look at what he's doing to himself. That's what I'm saying. That's why words like nouns and names and all that stuff, it has a whole background, a whole brainwashing, a whole other context that people get lost in. Oh, that's just John, or that's just this guy, he has, oh no, it's John, or it's this guy that has fatty acids, and he is now suffering symptoms. And then what is he doing that is then compounding the issue? And so it's not John anymore. Now it's a guy that has imbalances. Okay? And that's how I now have broken everything. So that's why, that's why it's easy for me now to figure out the world, because I'm not lost in the nouns and the pronouns, in the adjectives. I'm not lost in the English language. Everybody is like an element or a balance or an imbalance or an addiction. It's a trip way to really look at the world, but it's necessary if you want to understand yourself and understand how to get along in this world, because now you know who you're dealing with, and you will act accordingly, and you won't take things personally, and you won't get triggered, and you won't get, it's just going to be, and you'll always speak from logic. You're not going to get caught up in the emotion. You'll be able to impart information without getting caught up in people's reactions. That's one of the biggest things that I've learned, is that when I'm finally healed and sealed, the logic is now more pronounced and the emotions have been tucked away. So now I can impart information without getting lost in reactions. Occasionally I will, because it happens, but not as much as I used to. And that is one of the major, biggest, specific, measurable results. And that's what I hope for all of you, to tap into that, to get to that point. Okay? So yeah, if you can refer to, my dog is like, my dog is one big hormone. My dog, you know how I refer to her? Sugar? She is oxytocin. She's oxytocin that wants just love, love, love. She brings out the oxytocin in me. And she's also protective. She's also the adrenaline. When she senses danger, she lets me know. She triggers me. When she barks, I'm like, holy shit, what's going on? Okay? But my dog is two hormones. She's adrenaline, she's oxytocin. Her name is Sugar too. And I feed her and I make sure she's okay, and I'm thankful for her. But that's how I look at her. She is two major hormones. Your animals, your friends and your family, your job, the environment are all hormones or things that trigger hormones. And if you have imbalances, believe me, your environment is imbalanced. Okay? And your dogs and your animals and your pets and your friends and your family are a reflection of your balance or your imbalance. And so then you start looking at the world from a totally different point of view, and it's actually really fun. Yeah. Yeah, Kevin, because she is full of love. Animals are full of love unless they really are degrading, and then they become these rabid things that attack. And that's that's why the pit bulls get such a bad rap, because the people who are so full of adrenaline, who are degrading, who are aggressive, who are destructive, are then bringing out the destruction in their animal. But sugar is full of oxytocin. John says, wow, that's the exact thing that happened to me last night. I got slammed and I retaliated, but I didn't get emotional. Before, hold on. Before I would have triggered me to respond too fast. I literally would start shaking and could barely type. Oh yeah, I've been there, John. I've been there. Oh my God. It's a trip how even the internet, people say on the internet, can trigger a person. It's a trip. And Krista said, oops, what are you oopsing, Krista? Sweetheart. To be fair, the puppy was for my son. Oh, would you stop defending yourself? I'm just saying. No, no, animals are a reflection. Animals are a reflection of, and it's okay. I mean, hey, when you get an animal, now that you know about J-juice, if an animal dies, what's your excuse? See, this is where when you do the J-juice and you have a pet, now it's literally a forever thing, because you know these pets can live indefinitely. You know they can. Okay? So now you are that much more responsible for an animal. And so when someone's animal dies and they're on the J-juice, they know about the J-juice. But people ask me, well, what do you do with the, I have an animal that's elderly, that's a cat that's elderly, and they're like, what do I do? How much would you give? And I can't tell you how much to give to your animal. There's no freaking way. If you don't know what you're doing with the protocol, with yourself, how the hell are you going to give it to your animal or your kid? And I can't coach you through that. That's not my job. And I don't want to. I don't want to have that responsibility. So when someone private messaged me the other day and said, hey, I have an elderly cat. What would you give Sugar if she had an issue? Sugar is like 50, 60 pounds. Your cat's like what, 5, 10 pounds? You figure it out. If you don't know what you do with the protocol and you don't understand proportions and all this other stuff and what, how much or whatever, then you go take your animal to the vet, and some animals will die because you don't know what you're doing. But that's just going to happen. I can't save everybody, because you have to know the protocol, understand back, left, right, and then you got to do it yourself. Let me tell you, you know how I know how to help my animal? Because I know how to help me. If you can't help me, you can't help your animal or your kid. And that's why I don't coach anybody as far as, what to do for an animal that's in duress. I know how to fix my animal because I know how to fix me. So if you don't know what you're doing, go see a professional. I've given you as many tools as you guys can handle, just short of actually doing it for you. It's up to you. That's why I don't do private message. That's why I don't play those games of back and forth. That's why I don't do personal coaching. I try to give you as much info as I can without actually telling you what to do. Because at some point, you guys are going to have to do it yourself. And you're going to mess up. I had a lady that gave baking soda to their dog who was throwing up stuff. Baking soda to their dog. The dog died. I'm like, what the hell? Why would you do that? But I can't tell them anything. I'm not there 24/7, and I shouldn't be there 24/7 to moderate what someone does with their animals or their children. So if you don't know what the hell you're doing, stop giving your animals all of these things, these holistic remedies that you have no idea how to dose them or what to do. Take them to a vet. If you haven't fixed yourself with the J juice or on the J juice and understanding it, then there's no way you're going to do it with your animal. So if I can fix my animal, it means because I understand the J juice. If Sugar, she was in a dog bite, back in the summertime when she was attacked by 2 dogs. She only sustained 1 puncture hole. And she had a bit of an upset stomach because that was pretty traumatic for her. And my husband put the J juice on her stuff. Well, when I got back, because I wasn't here, I was in Washington, D.C., I came back home and I gave my dog drips in cotton balls of the J juice down her throat. And so, yeah, she did a few waterfalls, got rid of whatever. She might have had a virus, from those dogs. Who knows what she got from those dogs. But I also put the J juice on the outside. But I knew how much she could take. And I knew her. I know me. My dog is an extension of me. My animal is an extension of me. And guess what? She's doing great. So if you haven't fixed yourself, there's no way you can fix anyone else around you. There's no way you can be a leader in the health and wellness world if you haven't even fixed yourself. That's why I get on people and say, oh yeah, I'm a health and wellness person, and they're aging and degrading. Yeah, they have great things to say. Everybody does have a great thing to say. But as far as health and wellness, if you haven't even fixed yourself, there's no freaking way that I'm going to go to you and have you fix me. So if you haven't fixed yourself, there's no way you're going to fix your animal. No freaking way. You wouldn't even know the first thing to do. Hi, Sugar. I know. I love you, baby. I thank God for my dog. I am grateful for her. She's grateful for me. She's a good little girl. Right? You're such a good girl. You're so good. Okay? And we have a very good relationship because I take care of her and she knows it. And she takes care of me. And we've been through some shit together, I'll tell you what. I mean, she had that fatty tumor that kept acting up every single change of season. And it was getting big and bulbous and everything. And I'm putting all this stuff on there that I thought I could, And she's getting all these, skin allergies from different foods prior to the protocol. And I'm dealing with that. And then she get the tick bite. I'm dealing with that. I'm thinking like, oh God, I'm telling you, her and I have been through it all. And guess what? She's doing awesome. She got on the protocol. She went through the healing symptoms, the potential seizures, the hip dysplasia. She wasn't able to really walk really good for a week. She was in pain. She had a tail between her legs for about a week going through the healing process. That's what we go through when we're doing the J juice protocol on a human. Animals experience the same thing. Humans and animals are not that different. There's definitely some characteristics that are different, but humans and animals are not that different. They still are made of fatty acid, amino acid, prohormones, and minerals. She has more of a shorter system, so when I feed her, she's out there pooping. Every single time I feed her, she's like a poop machine. Okay, so her system is very efficient, very quick. And then occasionally I'll drip the J juice down her throat in a cotton ball, but I don't mix it in her food anymore. Okay, so, but yeah, in the beginning when I was getting her right on the protocol, it was in her food. I was putting it on her body. I was taking her, putting it all, I was doing whatever I got to do to make sure that she got exposed to this and I would see the healing symptoms. So that's what you guys got to go through. And some of you don't understand the J juice protocol. We'll try to do that to your animal, and the animal has symptoms, and you're freaking out, taking it to the vet, and they're giving them antibiotics and all this other stuff. Now you just basically undermined everything that you did, and that's why I don't coach anybody, because if you don't understand the protocol on yourself, there's no freaking way you can do it for your animal. You'll freak out even more and then blame me. Oh, you hurt my animal. So I won't even go there with people. So just do the protocol, you guys. Do it yourself on you, and then you can help your friends and family if they want it, as well as your animal. But nobody should die of heart attacks. Nobody should die of strokes. Dr. Phil just really compounded the issue by demonizing the salt and the electrolytes. and he is, you know, diabetic, and he is paving the way for a heart attack in his world. And so he made it worse for his audience, who are the skinny fat and the obese, who have predispositions to cardiovascular issues, to heart disease. When the cerebral blood flow drops below a certain point, that's when the electrolytes kick in to then energize the blood to push through to get to the heart. And then that's when the symptom of a heart attack or a stroke. If you don't survive a heart attack or a stroke, you didn't have enough electrolytes in your blood to carry you through. So that's what he did not anticipate that I would figure out. So anyways, I'm done with this transmission. It's a long one. I'll tell you that, it was a long one, but it was necessary. So now you guys have no other choice but to even just to explore this, because I would hate for you guys to not wake up one day because you didn't know what was going on in your own world. You were that oblivious. You know, you can measure out your life in sensible proportions. Just eating a fruit. This is for some of you who are recommending fruit to your friends and your family. Oh, eat a fruit, eat this, eat that, eat whatever. You realize that when somebody has acid imbalances, eating so much fruit will cause more acid issues. Okay? You have to get your fatty acid, amino acids, prohormones, and minerals balanced out. Eating certain foods and only eating certain foods on a body that has malabsorption will compound the imbalances. Fruitarians are feeding the fungus, the candida, that contributes to malabsorption, also known as leaky gut. When someone's a fruitarian on leaky gut as well as imbalances, you're compounding the issue. If diet alone was that effective and that surefire with indefinite life, we would have vegans and vegetarians and people eating clean, living indefinitely, reversing the aging process. So diet alone, changing your diet, only eating fruits and vegetables is not the answer. And some of you are promoting that as if it was the answer. And then you're compounding the issue on your friends and family as well as yourself, because you're listening to the trendy mainstream and alternative mainstream. Yes, changing your diet will give you a temporary state of execution, but you are still compounding the issue. It's no different than a cure of chemotherapy. Changing your diet is no different than a chemotherapy, stopping the programming. You may see temporary benefits. Oh, I lost 20 pounds. Oh, I lost this. But those weaknesses are still there. You haven't gotten to the root cause of why you had to do that to begin with. And so you're playing whack-a-mole. So why don't you do the protocol? Dante, Masya, why don't you do the protocol? Do the J-Juice protocol. Get the book. Do it. Feel the healing. Report back to your audience. Say, hey, I'm feeling the pain. I'm seeing a total change in this, and this. This is really the end all be all, because let me tell you, how many people have changed their diets? How many diets are out there? How many times they have promoted keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, meat, you know, only milk, only this, only that? How many times you can change your diet when the end result is still the same? Your friends and family are still dying around you. The vegans and vegetarians, the fruitarians are still dying and still dealing with activism and imbalances. At some point, you're going to have to change your thought process around food. And it really is about feeling the pain. And you have to understand the J-Juice. When your body is made up of fatty acid, amino acids, prohormones, and minerals, and then the J-Juice has the acid, the probiotic, it has the micro and macronutrition, the prohormones, it has the electrolytes or the minerals, and we're not mitigating pain. We're not playing the avoidance game, the discrimination game that the trendy holistic people are always playing, the discrimination game. Oh, stay away from this, stay away from that, eat this, eat that. And then one day you'll be able to eat whatever the hell you want, and it's not going to work adversely against you. You don't have to play the discrimination game. That's where racism and all the isms, sexism, and all the isms come out, when people are discriminated in their own food supply and they discriminate against each other. That's why we have such division in our society, because we discriminate in our food supply because of imbalances. It's all connected. And if you can't see that, then you're actually contributing to the isms in our society and the cancer, disease, and chronic illness, which is exactly the opposite of your intention. But guess what? The road to hell is paved by good intentions. Have a good day. Bye.